Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we are going to have fun with tessellations, and we're going to turn them into old hags or a witch, a sorceress, a crone, an old crone, some kind of a figure for Halloween or the fall. And it's very simple to do. You want to start off, you can either use a 4x6 or a 3x5 index card. Either one will do. And you're going to make it a perfect square. That's what I do. And if you don't have an index card, you can use a piece of cereal box or just something a little bit heavier than paper, because you're going to be tracing these over and over again. And what I do is I want to find a perfect square. And the easiest way to find a perfect square is to fold down your corner and then just cut right here. And you want this to be a perfect square. You don't want this to be off. So I'm just slicing right up, right on this line and making sure it lines up perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold our square, and on the left side of the square is going to be the profile of the old hag or the witch. So this is the profile. So on this side is what we're going to draw the profile on. And when we're done, it's going to look like this. And then the bottom side is where we're going to do the top of her head. And it could be a hat, or it could be just spiky hair like this one. I just did spiky hair here. I didn't put a hat on it. To start off, you want to make sure that you begin and end right at the corner here. So I'm just going to come and I'm touching the exact corner and I'm coming out diagonally. Now you want to begin and end at this corner as well. So I'm just going to come up diagonally here. So your profile has to fit in between these two lines. Now you can make your own profile, or you can go ahead and follow me a bit. For the profile, I want to come out just a little bit, and then I'm going to start coming down, and this is going to be her forehead. And then I'm swooping out a little bit, so a diagonal out. So I came down and diagonal out. Now we're going to do the nose, and you can design this any way you want to. I'm going to hook mine. I'm coming out diagonally and hooking. Then I'm going to come back up and curve it in some. Now we're going to do the profile. I'm going to curve it a diagonal down. It's a slight curve. This area is going to be the mouth, so you can have it smiling, you can have it just wide open. If you want it wide open like this, you can have it smiling up and back. I'm going to do mine up and then back down. It's going to be a smile. So I've curved it up and back. That come down straight. And then this is the chin area in here. You can even have a hooked chin, out and around, and then back in. Or you can just have a rounded chin. That's up to you for your chin. So this is now the witch's profile, or the hag profile. Now the bottom edge of this will be the hat, right here. And when you do the hat, let's look at one that's already formed. The hat will end up being it'll be on the top here, but it'll also be cut into here. So you don't want to go up too pointy because you're cutting part of the face off. So I'm going to come in, and again, you want to begin and end, so it's going to begin and end here at this corner. And you want to begin and end exactly at this corner. So I'm just making a line where I'm going to make my cut. Now here I'm going to do my hat. And I'm going to have kind of a bent hat. So I'm going to come over and then bring it down to this line. There's the point. And then I'll bring it right back to that line. That way I can have the hat like that. Now this can also be spiky hair. Let me show you one with spiky hair. If you want a hag that has no hat on it, you could just do some spikes. And it could be also a wizard or warlock or a gnome. This almost looks more like some kind of a gnome. And this could be a beard down here. And basically, don't be disappointed if this doesn't come out as what you're expecting. You can always turn it into another character, another type of a hag character. So now, once we have our shapes, and this again is on the left side and this is on the very bottom, we're gonna cut this out. And you wanna be precise in your cutting. It's gotta be exactly on this corner or else you'll have lining up issues later. And I'm gonna cut my hat out, or the bottom. And if you want to mark, it's good to make a mark like this or something so you know this is the front side. We can see the pencil lines, but some kids still get confused with that. And I'm cutting exactly on the line. And now we're going to do what's called a slide. And I'm going to get a piece of tape ready. And I take my shape, I make sure it's inside here. And I just simply take the shape down, bring it over, up, and I put it on the very top. And I want to line this up exactly. And you want to make sure it's exactly the same on both sides. And then I'm going to tape this down. And if your tape overlaps a little, just fold it back. And I always do a few little pieces on each end. You want this to be pretty secure because you're going to be tracing this template over and over again. This is your tracing template for the tessellation design. Especially this little area here. You want to make sure that doesn't break off. I'm just going to put some tape right over this and fold it. And then I'll trim it. That way the tape gives a little bit more. I'm just trimming the tape. It gives a little bit more support on those really thin ends. Now I'm going to cut out my profile. Be very careful on the profile. You want to make sure you're cutting right on your lines. Especially areas that are really small like this. You want to be real careful of. You want it to be in one piece. And then when you come to the corner, you want to make sure it's right at that exact corner. So now I have the profile. And the bottom one I slid to the top. The one on the left I'm going to slide to the right. Like a piece of puzzle, I just take it right out of the shape. I'm going to bring it down and around, and I line it up perfect here. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape it. And you don't want anything to overlap. You want it to just tape perfectly. I'm going to lift it up, fold it in, and then I'm going to tape the bottom area here. Now that you have your tessellation shape, you can go ahead and design it. And I always kind of just design it first here. I'm going to design my nose and I do it with a pencil first and then I go back over it. I really like the way the shape of this came out. And I'm going to use some of this part that's flying back as hair. So I can have my hat just come around like this. And then this can be just some hair coming back. And same thing with this. This can be just crazy hag hair. And I really like the chin and jawline down in here. So I'm going to continue with that. So this will be my jaw. And I'll stick my ear right in here. And then this will be just her hag hair. And then I'm going to have some more of the hair coming down in here. And then I'm going to do an eye in this area. So once I have my design sketched out, then I'm going to go back with my Sharpie, add some lines for there. She's going to have some like spiky hair on her chin. I'm going to change the jawline a little. I'm going to make her ear a little bit smaller. And then this will be some hair coming in here. And then the eyeball will be right in here. Now once you have your witch, then your design's drawn on, then you can start tracing on your paper and putting them together to form your tessellation shape. And if you want to, you could do it on colored paper. That way you're not coloring in the skin as much. Say if you want this to be a witch and you want a green face, I would just trace this on green colored paper, and then I would do all the designs with your black paint or Sharpie. And for this tessellation project, I'm just using a smaller 9x12 paper, and you want to plan it out. And so I can see where my face is, and then I'm just estimating. And I'll estimate here, and then I'll estimate here, and I can see I can get 3 of them. Now I'm going to trace the tessellation, and I've planned it out a few times, and if you want to trace it out on scrap paper a few times, because sometimes when you're tracing them out, they seem to go downhill, or they'll go uphill. So I've planned it out on scrap paper, and I've tilted it just enough so hopefully it'll come across straight. And when you hold the tessellation, you want to hold it careful as you trace, and you don't want to move the template, the actual shape, as you trace around. And I do it pretty slow and careful. Taking your time, because you want this to be precise. Because the second trace that you're going to make is going to interlock with this one. And you can see I'm kind of supporting the shape with my fingers as I move along. And I'm using a gel pen for tracing. If you want to trace it first with a pencil, you can, or a Sharpie, an extra fine Sharpie. This, by using the Sharpie or the gel pen first, it saves a lot of time, because when you're reproducing this, say 10, 15 times, depending on the size of your paper, it's a lot more work to retrace. So there I have the shape now. And once it's completely traced, I'm just going to slide this. I just slide it over carefully. And then I'm going to put, this is like a piece of puzzle, a puzzle piece. So then put it back into where it belongs. Right here, and you want to line this up and make sure all little edges are lined up, and up in here is lined up. And now I'm going to go ahead and trace again. I can see it's slightly going uphill, but that's okay. I just didn't want to lose half of her hat as the design moved across the page. And I just have to retrace the lines that are showing. Here, I don't have to retrace these lines. So then I move this off, and there's my second shape. And then I just continue this process for the whole page, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now that you have it all traced, you're going to go back to your template design, and you're going to just start filling in all the details in each one of the faces. And I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Now we're going to decorate it, and you can color this in any way you want to. Paint it, color it, or leave it just black and white, or black with a colored paper. I'm going to start off by doing black hats, and I'm going to give her hair a bright orange or red, or a little bit of red orange both. And then I'm keeping the skin the natural green. And this is what it looks like here with the hair painted. And I could do some other values for some texture in the hair that will improve this. Like if I just come back with another layer with this wavy line, this will just give more interest to the hair. And I'll continue that. And then I'm going to paint in the hat as well. And here is the final tessellation design. And you might want to use some of these words. Instead of calling it the old witch, you could call it the enchantress, a sorceress, a crone, or a hag. And the title of my tessellation is going to be The Old Crone. And I hope you had fun creating your tessellation. And don't forget to subscribe. And I do have the templates right here if you need to download these, and if you want to copy my template, you can. And I have it on my Patreon account, and I will link it in the descriptions. So click on the title and the descriptions will pop up, and then you'll be able to click on the Patreon account, and then you can download this pattern and cut it out yourself. Otherwise, you can easily make your own like I demonstrated. And as always, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel.